Sunshine and Secrets by Daisy James. Read by Kimberley James. Recorded at Pinewood Studios. To my wonderful family for their love, support, and continuing willingness to taste test all my recipes. Chapter 1. Have you checked in yet, Millie? No, but don't panic, Jen. I told you that I'd make an extra special effort to arrive in plenty of time, didn't I? I'm just grabbing a latte and a copy of Hello before joining the queue, which, I have to tell you, is huge. Nice must be the place to be this month. Millie had no intention of admitting to her super-organised sister that the only reason she had arrived at Gatwick with time to spare was because Poppy had insisted on collecting her from her studio flat above Café Etienne that morning at a ridiculously early hour. Her friend and colleague had then driven them at a stomach-wrenching speed to the airport and had marched her, still stuffing her passport into her hand luggage, to the check-in desk. Poppy had even offered to hang around until she made it through security, just to make absolutely sure she didn't meet with some diversions and miss her flight. Not an unknown or indeed infrequent occurrence. Great, I was hoping that you'd stuck to your usual schedule of taking every deadline down to the wire. Millie detected a note of excitement rather than impatience in Jen's voice. Why? What's happened? Well, before you freak, just hear me out. Jen, what's going on? A coil of panic began to wind its way around her chest, just as it always did whenever arrangements got changed. Millie knew her reaction was something she would have to live with for the foreseeable future. It was just another item on the lengthy list of newly developed fears she had Luke to thank for. I know you're super excited about spending your break from the cafe with Mum and Lumont, but the most fabulous opportunity has come up. If I wasn't booked to do a presentation at the Cornish Living Show next weekend, I'd grab the chance myself. Jen, please, you're killing me here. Sorry. Okay. Do you remember Claudia Croft, the celebrity cookery book writer, who also runs culinary workshops and classes at her country manor in the Cotswolds? I helped her deliver a couple of Christmas tutorials last year. It was the most fabulous fun I've had for years. Millie allowed herself to relax a little. If her sister was talking about cooking, a passion they both shared, there was no cause for anxiety. She scanned the check-in queue and decided it was time to join the line for her flight to the south of France. Of course I remember her. I also remember how envious I was when you got that gig. Well, now I can make up for it. I've just spoken to Claudia. Sadly, she's broken her leg in a horse-riding accident. She's in hospital waiting for an operation. She was supposed to fly out to St Lucia today to supervise the finishing touches to her brand new project, the Paradise Cookery School. She needs someone who knows what they're doing to go in her place. So, after I reluctantly told her I had to turn the offer down, I suggested you. It's perfect, Millie. You're more than qualified, and a trip to St Lucia is just the opportunity you need to move on and start getting over what happened with Luke. Jen, you know I'm... So, as you can imagine, Claudia leapt at the chance to have a cordon bleu trained chef to oversee the renovations. The school is being run at Claudia's villa in the hills, overlooking the bay at Soufrière, in the south of St Lucia. Apparently, the builders have almost finished bringing the kitchen up to a professional standard needed to host a luxury cookery school, so there won't be much for you to do except soak up the sunshine and explore the local cuisine. It'll be fantastic. But Jen, it's all organised. There's a ticket waiting for you at the British Airways desk. Business class, no less. Oh, Millie, I just know you're going to have the most amazing time out there. This is more like the sort of thing you should be doing instead of slaving away at that dingy little cafe in Hammersmith. It's not a cafe. It's a French patisserie. Mum thinks, and I happen to agree with her, that you just took the first job you were offered to get away from Oxford and everything that happened there. But it's been 6 months now, darling. I know how painful it was, but it's time to drag yourself out of the doldrums and start living again. Who knows? You might even have a holiday fling while you're there. There is no way I'm going to have a holiday fling. But it's a yes to going to St Lucia, though? The magazine Millie had been clutching under her arm, whilst juggling her mobile from ear to ear to improve the signal, clattered onto the marble floor, and she sloshed a generous splash of coffee down her white capri pants. Before she could bend to retrieve it, a tall, designer-clad guy with mirrored sunglasses crouched down and scooped it up, gifting her with a flash of his brilliant white teeth. Thanks. The George Clooney lookalike bowed his head in acknowledgement before sauntering towards the newsstand, glancing back over his shoulder in Millie's direction as he selected a copy of the Daily Telegraph. Heat rose to her cheeks and she averted her eyes. Millie? Millie, are you still there? Are you listening to me? Sorry, just a little coffee mishap. I'm still here. Mum's going to be disappointed. I think she had lots of things planned for me. I called Mum before I called you. She's fine about it. And don't tell me you were looking forward to attending her G&T soirees with the local salsa club. Did she tell you her friend Solange has had her navel pierced? She's 70. I warned Mum that I'd disown her if she followed suit. Jen released an impatient sigh at the antics of their youthful, energetic mother. A response Millie had grown familiar with over the years since their father had passed away, and Monique had returned to her hometown of Le Mans to reinvent herself as a social butterfly. So, is it a yes? Millie blew her fringe, the colour of summer wheat, away from her eyelashes. She could almost hear the steamroller's engine revving up behind her, but she allowed herself a wry smile. She was pleased to see that her sister had confidence in her organisational skills, which was more than the evidence and offer warranted, and a couple of weeks in the sunshine certainly appealed to her. Okay, it's a yes. What exactly does Claudia want me to do? The villa is part of an old cocoa plantation, which Claudia and her husband Tim renovated a few years ago to use as a holiday retreat from their frazzled lifestyle they lead in London. There's an estate manager who lives on site to look after the grounds and the buildings, but that's a full-time job in itself. And Claudia feels he's too busy to make absolutely sure the kitchen upgrade will be finished to an ultra-high spec. The first workshop is scheduled for 2 weeks' time. It's a pre-wedding bonding bash, organised and paid for by the bride's mother for their daughter's bridesmaids and girlfriends, to have fun and to relax before the main event. They're staying at a 5-star hotel nearby, where the wedding ceremony will take place in a pavilion in the grounds. So romantic. And Claudia is sure she'll be well enough to fly out to take the classes. Absolutely. Good, because I don't know the first thing about running a cookery school. Claudia told me that the week-long course is called Chocolate and Confetti, and will be focusing on all things chocolate-related. Apparently, the plantation used to grow cocoa beans commercially until fairly recently, when the business became unviable and the estate was put up for sale. Claudia is planning to produce cocoa from the estate for use in the cookery schools at some point in the future. And anyway, Millie darling, even if she isn't fully recovered, you could handle the classes with your eyes closed. It's not the baked faisan en croûte with foie gras or the lapin à la cocotte you were used to producing before. Well, before your change in career direction, is it? Stop the flattery, Jen. I'm your sister. I can see right through you. Jen laughed, the relief evident in her voice. Thanks for doing this, Millie. I owe you one. And will you humour me by keeping an open mind on the holiday romance? Millie didn't want Jen to venture into the pain-strewn territory of romance. She swallowed down hard on her rising emotions, swiveled on her stiletto sandals, and dragged her wheelie suitcase towards the British Airways desk, thanking her guardian angel that she had at least packed the right clothes for a trip to the Caribbean. Her mum had warned her that Provence was experiencing one of the warmest Septembers on record. Look, Jen, it's been 6 months now, Millie. You've got to break free from the mist of misery you've taken refuge in. So it hurts. But it's just a blip in life's grenade-dotted path. Happiness could be just around the corner, if you take the chance to explore the landscape and get some perspective. Failing that, you could just opt for some love in the sun. I am exploring, Millie murmured. But in truth, she knew her life was like the reverse side of one of her mother's embroidery projects, knotted and disorganised, waiting for the creator to switch the fabric round to display the beauty at the front. What? As a pastry chef in a tiny cafe in a drab side street in London. It's a patisserie, Millie repeated, but she knew Jem wasn't listening. That's not exploring. That's punishment after everything you've achieved in the culinary area. Hey, Lily, stop that! Look, I have to go before the girls start bickering. I'll email you all the info and photos. The villa is truly stunning, and Claudia will be so grateful. Have you got your scrap box with you? I've always got my scrap box with me. Millie patted her straw shoulder bag and was comforted by the reassuring presence of the lever arch box file that never left her sight. It was crammed to bursting with recipes, snippets of foodie articles, glossy photographs of unusual dishes, information on a newly discovered spice and its potential uses. There was...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?